Alrighty, who's starting the ball rolling?
We'll start with you, Don. First, obviously we get into the second match. Thoughts coming from the first one now that you've had a bit of time to think about it? How did it all roll out for you now?
Yeah, look, it's difficult to assess. It was obviously an undermanned Eagles side, but there's some really good signs for our guys. I thought in terms of the way we moved the ball and some of our actions in team defence was sort of what we've been working on, so that was pleasing.
In terms of focus now, with your list and players, do you start to rest a few, bring a few back? What's your idea?
Look, as I've always said, for us, it's about preparing for round one. So this week, we'll manage a few guys. To make sure that we've given them the best chance to be in the tip-top prime condition for round one, but also to give some other guys an opportunity who've worked hard through pre-season to press their claim. So trying to sort of still manage those two or three different things.
No Brad Crouch. What's happened there?
Yeah, look, with Brad, it was a bit disappointing in some ways. We thought he was pretty close last week, and he did some running, on Saturday last week, and probably just pulled up a little bit sore than we thought. So, look, he's raring to go, and I'm very confident he'll be fine for NAB 3 and for round one.
Are you concerned he's not getting enough games into his belt heading to round one now?
Look, ideally, we'd want him to play, but he can't at the moment. So, as I said, we're always taking a very conservative approach with Brad. His foot's perfectly fine, so that's not an issue. We'll get this little groin thing to settle down, and he'll be ready to go.
What about Hampton, I think, playing this week in Menzel? They'll definitely play, and how exciting that you get those guys to have a crack.
Yeah, well, there are a couple of guys I mentioned. We've got to finalise the side this afternoon. Whether both of them, make the final 26, we'll wait and see. But that's the idea of this NAB series, is to give guys an opportunity. So hopefully those, one or both of those guys will get a look.
What about the travel this week? You got to go. Are you flying over to Perth and then going down there? How's that working?
No, we've got a charter flight, so we fly direct to Albany. So we leave on Saturday morning, direct to Albany. We'll have a training run at the ground, ready to play, and then back Sunday night.
With Crouch, is there too much expectation on him this year? Everyone's saying he'll come in and be the immediate replacement for Dangerfield. Is that getting ahead of ourselves, or he's got those sort of capabilities, but does he actually just need to play?
I think you're exactly right, Andrew. He needs to play, and he wants to play. And look, as I said, we're very confident he'll play NAB 3 in prep for round one. So for me, it's him returning to be the player he wants to be, and there's a process to go through in terms of his build into the season. As I said, he's had a couple of weeks where he hasn't been able to stay in the program through a groin, but I agree with you totally. The reality for him is just to get him out there playing, and then he'll become a part of our midfield group. It's not about replacing players or anything else. Our midfield group will be our midfield group, and we'll, as you saw last week, Rory Sloane didn't play last week. Well, that doesn't mean we're not able to perform.
Don, you talk about getting everything ready for round one. Have you got a bit of an idea who's going to be in that team already? Is there certain players that are definitely going to be picked for round one?
There's a number of guys who have, through past performance and through the pre-season, have clearly put themselves, in a good spot to play round one. So, history would say there's probably maybe 15, 16 guys who you would earmark are going to play round one, and the rest of them are, spots to be filled. So it's exciting for a lot of our players at the moment who are competing for those spots. It's a great time of the year for them. They've done all the work, and as you saw last week, there's some guys who put their hand up and perform really well, which is positive. We want depth. It's really what we want. Our job as coaches and a selection committee should be really hard, and hopefully it is.
How many guys legitimately in line for those 5 or 6 extra spots in your best 22?
I haven't done the maths exactly, Andrew, to work out how many. It could be as many as 15, to be honest. It also comes down to the balance of the side we're going to play, the opposition we play as well, and then the roles we've got within the team.
Is that one of the, just from the outside looking in, that looks like one of your strengths this year, your depth? Are you really happy with the depth you've got here?
Look, I am, and you're right, there's certain depth. We've got more depth in certain spots, but every list will be the same. You'll have sort of depth in some areas and maybe a little bit less other places, but certainly from a midfield viewpoint, we've got a number of guys who, as I said last week to you, it's they're loving the opportunity to compete for a spot and to put their best foot forward, and that's what you want, because pressure on spots is vital to have any success. You need pressure from underneath with guys who are keen and they're keeping on improving, and it's an earned spot in your footy team.
Daniel, you're not playing this week. That's all just management sort of thing. You were half expecting to miss at least one of them.
I was. So having a bit of a rest this weekend. So that'll be good. I kind of wanted to play, but in the end, that's good management, and that's for Pyke. So, yeah, really looking forward to having a good. We'll still train this weekend and have a good hit out on Saturday. So, still get some miles in the legs.
I was going to say, so you still train back here with those other senior blokes that have missed out?
Yeah, we will. We'll have a good hit out on Saturday and probably do some contact stuff and do a lot of running. So, it's not like we're not getting some conditioning in. So, yeah, we'll still be working hard.
Like you said last week, you always obviously like to win. Everyone wants to win. This week, though, what are you looking money from this younger squad?
I'm looking for us to play the way we want to play. And it's slightly younger. As I said, we're managing a few of our senior players, but provides some opportunity. So Riley O'Brien as a ruckman gets a chance. Had great form in the SANFL last year, and he's really developed and matured over the off season. So be exciting to see what he can bring. Deere and McGovern had a bit of a taste last week to see whether they can maybe elevate a little bit, or certainly feel more not comfortable, but sort of more at home in the AFL side of things. And as you said, there's a few guys who are coming in who will be really keen to play well. So for me, I'm looking for the way we're going to play. It starts with the contest and our ability to keep pressure on the ball, which I thought after a slow start last week we were good at, and then into our other phases with our ball movement and our defence. But we're going over there with in my view, a strong enough side to put up a very good showing, and we expect we're going there to win.
And Luke Loudon, obviously, with recruited from Hawthorn, hasn't been seen at AFL level for Adelaide yet. Will he partner O'Brien in the ruck?
At this stage, no. Luke's probably there more as a backup at this point. We'll probably continue to use O'Brien as the main ruckman for this week. Give him plenty of minutes and opportunity to, as I say, experience playing AFL level.
Don, how exciting to shore up your defence, Daniel, for the next 6 years. That must be a big thrill for you as a senior coach.
Yeah, look, it was fantastic news. Obviously for Daniel, his faith in the club, belief in the path we're headed. And look, not only is he obviously an AFL elite defender and capable of knocking over those power forwards, but he's a strong leader in our footy club, and a guy who sets a really high standard for the playing group. So, he's developing in his leadership as a guy who's in it the first time last year, but he's someone now we've secured for that long term that we can really build around as a key pillar of what we want to achieve.
Daniel, what is it about Adelaide that made you want to stick around, not just stick around, but stick around for such a long time?
Yeah, I'm very settled here. So my partner's from over here, and I just love the city and love playing in front of our fans, and have really enjoyed my time here. I feel like Adelaide drafted me and obviously gave me the opportunity to play at the highest level, and now I want to reward the club for the faith they've shown in me. And 5 years is a long time, and it's a lot of security. So I thank the club for that. But looking forward to playing a lot of games and helping others become as good as they can be as well.
Daniel, do you treat yourself to something, or perhaps even your partner? Because obviously I'm sure there was a nice little remuneration added to all of it.
Well, I'm not playing this weekend, so I might take her out to dinner or something like that. Maybe a glass of red or something. Well, Pyke's not here.
Should be chuffed.
He's going the whole hog, isn't he?
I probably will. But
Maybe some flowers, Charles. Some flowers or something. Mate.
Come on the ring, maybe?
Yeah. Well, she just got a ring, so that's probably enough for now. Yeah.
Ticked all the boxes, mate.
Tom, with obviously Sam Jakes, number one ruckman, and Josh Jenkins support man, is it important that you find a guy like O'Brien that can prove he can do that job, given in case Jakes was to go down?
Oh, look, that's part of the depth I talk about, and we want to build that in all positions. So not only with Riley, but also with Harry Deere coming in and did a bit of ruck work last week as well. And as I said, it's a great opportunity for those guys who have worked really hard through the pre-season and have earned a spot. So we're not just giving them a spot because we want to see what they've got. Well, they've actually earned a spot. They've worked really hard, trained well, and improved on the way through. So it's an exciting time for young guys. I mean, I take myself back. It's a long time to when I first played, and your chance to test yourself against. And this week we'll play a pretty strong Fremantle squad by the look of it. So it's a great opportunity for those guys to A, experience it, and B, test themselves.
Just on from that, Don, you come up against Sandlands this week. Do you use third man up, given what's happened in the last week or so, or how do you approach that?
We'll see. Watch this space. We'll see. Yeah, we'll decide what we do against Sandlands, I think. So look, it's clearly a big challenge. He's a big man, and he's capable of winning a lot of hit-outs. So there's different strategies we can apply. One might be third man up. We might do some other things as well.
Does that muddy the waters? I mean, other teams use that against Source a fair bit too, the third man up. Is he clear about that rule?
Oh, I think it's clear about the rule, and I think it's one of those things which is unique to the game. So it probably has, depending on your view on it, it can have a positive impact on you or a negative impact. Sometimes third man up actually doesn't create as much as it seems to. It's one of those things which more can be distractionary for people around there. But generally, if you've got a third man up, there's one less on the ground as well. So it's a matter of how it operates for your team and how good you are at using it.
Don, just on Menzel, obviously didn't play last week. Is it a fitness issue at the moment or a little injury, or why was he didn't play? Excuse my ignorance on it.
No, last week was more, we felt in picking the team that he wasn't in the top 26 to play. So he's done, as I said last week, he's done a mountain of work, continues to, and look, he gets his opportunity this weekend. I'm sure he'll be as keen as anyone to put that work into practice in a game. And so, yeah, well, you know, again, it's about earning a spot. I said to Troy when he came here, it's about, you know, his talent is undoubted. It's really about how hard he's prepared to work, and he's done the work. So, you know, if he gets an opportunity on Sunday, it'll be really exciting to see what he can bring.
Last couple, guys.
We spoke yesterday to Rory, and he said that you had brought the fun back into this football club. Has that been a conscious effort for you?
It's interesting, Rory, to say that. But yeah, look, it for me, successful organisations, people enjoy what they do. You know, we play in obviously a major competition with a lot of pressure, a lot of focus, a lot of attention, but it's really important the guys look forward to walking through the doors every day. So I want the environment to be one which we can challenge them, we can stimulate them, but ultimately they've got to enjoy what they do. So for me, that's a really important part of doing it, because there's a lot of hard work. You know, these guys go through a lot, whether it's training, recovery, weights. There's a lot of things we do. We've got to try and make it as enjoyable as possible so they can fully engage and as Daniel said, you know, become as good as they can be.
How do you do that? We've obviously seen the tunes at training pumping out.
Yeah, look, it's we try and make sure we manage the, you know, we've got 50 guys, probably with coaches, 55 guys coming in the facility every day. So, you know, we just try and look for ways that we can keep it fresh, we can keep, you know, the guys engaged, allow some natural humour from guys to come out without suppressing it. So, yeah, we've started fun, let's make sure we keep it as fun. Yeah.
Donnie, well, there's a push from the Players Association. They want less workload on the players, if you like. So with resting players and that in the pre-season, is 2 games enough rather than 3?
Yeah, well, look, it's interesting from a management viewpoint. So the decision to manage guys this week was really based around our pre-season, and our pre-season is unique to us. The other clubs have different schedules. For instance, we haven't seen some clubs' players yet. Now, we've had a game. We've got a game this week. Then we have a 12-day break to our third NAB Cup into a 15-day break to round 1. So as we sit here today, we're still really 30 days or just over 30 days away from round 1. The scheduling says we have 2 games. We'll manage the group, we'll manage their volume of work both in NAB games as well as away from NAB games. So it's part of a bigger plan in terms of what we're seeing in terms of how we can get to that round 1 game in the best possible shape to be able to play, given 90 rotations and given the fact that, you know, the intensity for round 1 will clearly be higher than it will in a NAB challenge game. So,
but you want all 3. You wouldn't like to see it reduced back to just the 2 games, since that's what most of the senior players are playing.
Whether it reduces back, I think 3 games is good, because I think the trouble with 2 games is you end up pretty restricted. You don't have a lot of optionality about what you're going to do with your squad. And I think the 3 games gives you the flexibility to probably play some guys on your list to give them that opportunity. And I think that's really pivotal at this time of the year. You know, if I was going to play 2 games and I'm a young guy and I come in and I might not be in the best 26, will we see those guys play, or do they just get shoveled back to the local leagues? So I'm really keen for the 3 games to stay. Probably the timing between the games at the moment, if I was going to say anything, would probably be less than ideal in terms of our prep in, because everyone's a bit disjointed in terms of how their games line up, that's all.
So you'd rather start maybe the NAB series a touch later to build into round 1?
Yeah, I think 3 games, maybe starting later with a week off and then in round 1 would make sense to me at this stage.